Dynasty. Thanks for joining us today. We actually have a very special guest with us, a really good friend of ours, client and entrepreneur and family man and a lot of other stuff, lots of other hats, Donald Kelly. And we're going to have some questions and answers, both from his point of view and some other questions and answers that questions that other clients have brought up over the last couple of years as we've been working with different people. So we're going to go through this is going to be a two-part episode. So this is part one, and then next week we'll be dropping part two. So tune in for that. So welcome back, and without further ado, this is Donald. We got Kurt and Donald today.
So thank you all for taking the time to have me come and be a guest on your podcast.
Well, we are so grateful to have the sales evangelist with
Oh
us.
boy,
We're excited about that.
A real deal. Holyfield.
And Donald Kelly too.
And Donald Kelly, the multiple facets. And I brought my computer, so I don't want you all to feel that this is going to be a quiz, but I did do some research, and I feel like the questions that I have, like you said, some of your clients probably are asking, but sometimes you feel like you're so unique, but many of us face the same challenges, right? Especially with finances. So I want to go through and really pick you guys' brain on this stuff. So it's a pretty selfish episode here, and hopefully you can benefit from it. My background, I want to give you a quick back on my background and then dive into some of this because this will give context. My dad, I grew up in Jamaica with my parents separated when I was younger, and Jamaica's a third world country, right? I saw my dad as an entrepreneur, and he was successful in many rights in Jamaica and was still a part of my life. And he was known in Spanish towns, so people used to always say, "Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kelly's son," So he had this mini empire that he was building. He had a restaurant. The core of it was a blueprinting industry company. She did blueprint, and it still goes on. My half sister takes care of it and run the business in Jamaica now. And they had a restaurant, which still goes right now. And he has this plaza where he rented out some of the storefronts, and they had like Christian concerts and different concerts inside this internal part, this small little
Like a little mini venue.
amphitheater. Yeah, like a venue. So all of this, it just showed in my mind, like, I want to be a businessman when we grow up, and I want to be a businessman. So me trying to sell like candy or sell mangoes, like, it was this lure of becoming a businessman and being successful. Fast forward, though there was that being built, we moved to the United States, the business kind of just waned off over the years, but it wasn't enough to like say, hey, here's stuff that we're going to have as inheritance. So I'm coming from that background where you're not getting inheritance, you're not getting, and if there was, it'll probably be peanuts compared to American dollars, right? The lifestyle here. But I find my friends that I grew up with and people that I know, they came from a background where they had that, but like an inheritance. I didn't have that financial blueprint. I didn't have any of that. So someone like me, where should I start? Because I want to be able to have those things for multiple generations after I leave this rock. What do you all think?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is that your dad did give you an inheritance, a valuable one. Okay. He taught you the value of work, which that's a huge inheritance. So a lot of people don't get that in their lives. They don't learn how to work. They don't learn the value and the self-esteem that comes from accomplishing something, right? So your dad did teach you. He set a vision for you. I'm going to be a businessman. Okay.
He's Jamaican now. Yeah.
But he gave you that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really, in my mind, that's the first step to wealth building, because you think of all the people that built wealth, it all takes work, unless you inherited it, of course, but that's not always the healthiest thing, quite frankly. But you have that desire to work. So that's the first step in wealth building. And so in your situation now you're an entrepreneur, you're creating something, you have created something, you continue to create something, you're creating value for others, but you want to make sure that that value somehow gets translated to your wife and your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Okay. From our perspective, there's lots of ways to build what you're doing because you're building a business, that's building wealth. But from our perspective, the Wealth Dynasty, Yeah, we're life insurance guys, right? So we use life insurance, and you can use life insurance to help build wealth for generations. And it's really quite simple because for a few dollars, you can buy millions, right? And it does require some sacrifice because you got to give up those few dollars right now
Yeah.
that you can't use except to benefit future generations.
Yeah.
And so by taking a few dollars out of that, you can guarantee money for the kids and generations down the road. And there's all sorts of ways to structure that, but it depends on how much money you're talking about and so forth. But the great thing about life insurance is you can name the beneficiary, they get the money.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no probate, there's no nothing. Okay. Submit a claim, insurance company pays the claim, it's cash. Okay. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can structure that too. So in other words, by using a simple trust, a simple revocable trust, a personal trust, you can structure how that money is distributed. So the trust becomes the beneficiary. The trust itself names beneficiaries, but it not only does that, it names how that money can be used.
Interesting.
Okay, and then in other words, you're protecting children from getting too much money all at once. 'Cause that's a big risk.
Yeah.
And I've seen plenty of 18-year-olds.
I mean, handing keys to your Ferrari to a 7-year-old. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I mean, I
A
can't
lot
tell
of
you how many people I've
responsibility there.
seen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, kids inherit, $50,000, whatever. They think it's a huge amount of money, right?
And blow that in
It's gone.
2
It's
years
quick.
is gone.
I mean, not even 2 years. First thing is a car.
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay, there's 50,000. Okay. So, I mean, 'cause that's what people do,
Yeah.
So you got to protect them a little bit.
One of the things that someone shared with me, we were having a discussion around this, one of our mutual friends, but he had shared that, I think it was him that shared in the story. I'm 41 now, so my stories get all mixed up. But
You're gonna start repeating yourself, see?
right. So he mentioned like, no, it wasn't him. It was we were this came after a discussion before a discussion after this one, but I listened just on the radio, and they were saying this author was like, should you give your kids the money? And he was like, you have to. And the thought was, you don't do it, they're gonna hate you. You do it, and you could cause problems. So it's like you got to have like a plan, because if you take all that money and you don't give them anything, it's like, it's not that they're gonna hate you, but it's like, what if I did inherit some? What if I did have some stuff?
There's always, the what if situation, and this, I think that you're going through that right now, where you think, what if my dad would have taught me this, or what if that, and you gotta, I think this goes for a lot of people, you gotta see what you did get, and sometimes getting nothing is what you needed to grow to become who you are right now. Like sometimes the people that have, no education and no opportunities, and they see themselves and they realize like, I'm in a spot that only I can dig myself out of because I don't have any like handouts from anyone.
Yeah.
Nobody's like lifting me out of this. I have to take the initiative and make myself something. And that's a huge inheritance.
Yeah,
You just, it's all your perspective.
Yeah.
it's very interesting. So that trust will help with that.
And there's all sorts of ways to, set up that trust, which you can talk to an attorney about that and figure that out. There's also lots of things you can do online now to get ideas about how to put that trust together.
I'm not gonna lie, you bringing that up, because again, from the background, and I think this is where your knowledge is important and it's helpful. Because we have never had that. In my mind, trust is a rich people thing.
That's a really good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's like
yeah.
it becomes this quick deterrence of like, oh, I can't set that up. But as we've set many things up, I mean, if you set up a business, you can definitely set up a trust, like you're
Yeah,
saying
so I
online.
guess for our viewers, because this might be actually kind of a good discussion. How could we set that up for somebody that knows nothing about this? Well, first off, what is a trust?
Ooh, that's a
There's
good-
a very basic.
You kind of said a
definition.
little bit, but go deeper on that.
Okay, so not being an attorney, so I don't have all
It's
the knowledge
important. They're
about
not an attorney. I won't take this.
That
I know
legal
you're not
advice.
attorneys.
Okay, so a trust is a structure. It's a document, and
Is it like an LLC where it becomes its own entity or not?
in a way,
Depends on the
in a way,
structure. Yeah.
in a way, it is an entity of sorts.
Yeah.
So a trust is we know what a will is, right? So
Yeah.
will, you write down this is where I want my money to go. Okay. And then when you pass away, the will goes to probate, you get some attorneys involved, and the will is proven. Probate means proven.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, this is the truth. This is what we're going to do. And a judge hands out the money. Okay. Will's great because it does give an indication, right? So, no will, there's no indication. Who knows what, right? It's all up for grabs. Totally up for
Seen a lot
grabs.
of problems with that.
Huge problems.
Yeah.
Creates conflict.
I have a friend, their family just is going through a situation where his mom just passed. The family bought the house. They were going to lose the family house when his mom was around because of it's expensive. It's in California. One of the siblings, none of the other siblings were willing to put anything in capable. So one of the siblings says, I'll buy the house from you all, and then I'll give you all the money of the price, whatever. You split up the whatever we pay for the house so everybody can get it.
Like the original amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were gonna either do that or do it with another company, which was gonna do the same thing. But when they bought the house, say like for $500,000, since it's California, now it's like 7 years later, whatever number, that house is probably $2 million.
Yeah.
Some of the siblings now are mad that they are not getting some of the
grown.
increase.
Equity
But
afterwards.
it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
no, you promised to,
Right.
but it wasn't a part of a will or anything like that. But it was just like, instead, let's not let the house be lost by mom from mom. Let's keep it in the family.
Right.
I'm gonna buy it. But if a stranger bought it, they wouldn't have said anything. But a sibling bought it.
Right.
But it caused so much friction.
Yeah.
And this is not necessarily part of the will, but you can see when you don't have a will or how dangerous it can be. But it did bring out some things that some side of people. It was just,
Oh, yeah.
it was tough for my friend who was
Yeah.
handling it. He
Well,
was
greed is an ugly thing.
oh
It's
my
ugly.
goodness,
Yeah,
man.
it's ugly.
So having a detailed will.
Yeah.
So
But
the will is
a will is
the
good.
most basic. Like
Basic.
that's like the most basic level that you have to have at least that. Okay, that's the minimum. And there's tons of online sources you can just Google or search anywhere online and find. You could probably have AI even make a will for you with all your assets. And
I mean, a will can be
structure
as
out.
simple as writing stuff down on a napkin and signing it.
That
Yeah.
could be a legal will. Yeah.
So I write down all of my zeros and nobody gets 0 divided by 10.
But a trust takes another level. A trust protects everything that's owned in that trust is a protected asset in a way, and that it won't go to probate because it's in a trust, and a trust can own things. So in a trust, there's a person that's a grantor,
Mhm.
the person that sets up the trust, and there's trustees. So the most simple kind of trust is just a revocable trust.
That's one I've heard about.
Okay, revocable. Very simple. The grantor is also the trustee. Okay, so it would be like yourself. It's like you own it yourself, in essence. All the tax information, everything, this all flows back to the grantor. Okay, and you can own real property. You could have your bank accounts. You can have brokerage accounts. All sorts of things. Life insurance can be owned in a trust.
Even though it's my life insurance as the grantor.
Yeah.
The trust
Can own your policy.
Own your policy. Because
Got
the
it.
owner of a policy doesn't have to be the person that is insured.
Got it. Interesting.
So you can set up the Donald Kelly Revocable Trust, and you can buy a life insurance policy of that trust. The trust owns the policy, and the beneficiary would also be the trust.
Got it.
So yeah, so when you pass away, that trust is what takes the money. Or you could split that. You can make any type of like stipulation in there that you want. Like
Yeah.
part of it goes into the trust, and then another part goes to this kid when they turn 18, this one when they get married, whatever stipulations you want to put in there.
Is that in the will or
Well,
is that
so
in the
in the
trust?
trust
That's
itself,
the trust.
you can say the beneficiaries of my trust are
My wife, my kid,
Christina, Caleb, and I don't understand. We can't remember.
Lilia.
Lilia. Okay, those are the beneficiaries of the trust. Okay, plus any other children that may be born to this marriage or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, you can put that kind of language in there too. Then you could say, in the trust, while my kids are under 18, money's available for their education, their health, their welfare, and so forth. And then you can say when Caleb turns 35, he can take 15% of the trust as a cash distribution. Okay.
Gotcha.
Or you can also have it set up so that, any educational needs, or if Caleb at 35 wants to set up a business, that can be something that be entertained. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can have successor trustees, meaning that you pass away, you're not around to be the trustee anymore.
Yeah.
So Christina could be a successor trustee, or you could actually have a trusted friend be a trustee. You could have attorney. You could have corporate trustees. And the corporate trustees are fantastic because, they take a fee, of course, but they're going to follow that trust.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they're not going to be swayed.
They're not going to be swayed.
Yes.
And it doesn't put any pressure on Caleb or Lilia or any other future kids to be distributors of money.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
This is what the trust says you get. This is
that's
what's happening.
exactly. Because if you make Caleb the successor trustee, he's 35 years old. Now he's got to make decisions about how that trust distributes money. That can create conflict.
Yeah.
Okay. Or it's just inherent. Human beings aren't what we are.
I need that money right now. The other one might say, need that. Well,
J.G.
no.
Wentworth.
It's like, no, this is what the trust says.
Right. And you can reward good behavior, and you can not reward bad behavior.
Interesting.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, for example, my mother in her trust, she has a stipulation where the money only goes to her biological family. I have a new wife with a whole bunch of kids. When I pass away, none of the money goes to any of them. It only goes to myself and my 2 biological children. If I pass away first, then it gets split between however many biological children I have, or however many if they're dead, however many biological grandchildren I have. And if, for example, all of us die, then that gets divided by this living biological family members.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's unlimited ways. It just, whatever your imagination is, you can set these things up.
And that's why you said, speak to an attorney.
It's best. Yeah,
Right.
it's best.
And a revocable trust can be adjusted.
Because that's the revocable part.
Right.
Interesting.
As long as you're alive, you can still adjust that.
Yeah. All right. So get a will, get a trust.
Or you could just get a trust. You don't have to have both. Okay, you could go straight to the trust if you wanted to start there. You just get it with a lawyer and start setting yourself up with this entity. It is well worth it, the money, well worth the time. It's not even that expensive, honestly. They're not even like crazy expensive. So
There's all sorts of, attorney's best to use an attorney, but there also are
online
tools that
tons.
you can use.
Yeah.
They're a lot less expensive.
Okay. Well, that definitely helps. And I think it's important that, again, someone like me who may not, because I always think about when somebody says, well, one of my friends, he did estate planning and it was like life-changing for him. Just like things he didn't think about, and it's data that he found through this person that he worked with that, so many people don't have an estate plan. But in my mind, I'm thinking, we're here in South Florida. I live in West Palm Beach. Palm Beach, I see estates. And I'm thinking like a manor or like an estate, but it's not an estate. Doesn't necessarily mean that physical, real estate, but your estate. Right?
Correct. All your
Yeah.
assets.
Yeah, everything. So, okay. It's okay if I ask another question?
Anything
Totally.
else?
This is switching gear a little bit, but what's the biggest mistake you see like entrepreneurs with my background make when it comes to start making money?
So I guess what?
When they start making money.
Okay, so what is your background, just so our viewers can kind of
So
get an
go back
idea,
to like
your
growing up.
profile as an entrepreneur? Because
No, let's say like as a kid, like growing up without having like wealth. You explained I definitely got wealth and knowledge, but like financial wealth, not coming back from money. But when I do start making money now, I'm not to maybe a thousandaire, not not any millionaires. But you think about like the people who come into a lot of money, like say athletes, where you have to make this contribution back to community. I'm not seeing it. It's not that type of money, but still yet where I'll be open with one of them. And my friends have pointed this out to me. The fear of losing it
Mm-hmm.
causes you to be cautious
Mm-hmm.
and not take risk.
Yeah.
So it's like you want to take that money and bury it under a mattress as opposed to putting it into something that will help generate money.
Okay.
There's one limitation that I see, or the fact that you don't have money, so you don't make wise decisions to help that money live on.
I mean,
So in that case, I'll read the question again. What's the biggest mistake you see entrepreneurs from my background, not necessarily me, make when they do start making money?
so can I answer that?
Go ahead.
So there's two things come to my mind. Okay. One, human beings are what we are, right? Okay. We are what we are. And we have it's common temptations, right? Very common. So the first thing that comes to my mind is that you come into money, man, I've been saving and struggling for all these years. I want to do something fun and nice and enjoy. Okay. And some people will, I deserve
I've
this.
earned this.
Yeah,
I
earned
deserve
this.
a 10-bedroom house, and I'm going to
Right.
use 1 bedroom.
Right. And when I hear that word deserve, I think,
You get red
what do we
flags.
deserve? What do we deserve? I don't know, but anyways, so people tell themselves I deserve this, right? So the first thing is they want to fill that void that they have not had. I want to fly first class. I want a nice car. I want nice clothing. I want different things. Okay. They want to fill that void. So, and you should fill that void to some degree.
Yeah.
Right? You have earned it. Okay. Whether you deserve it or not, I don't know, but you've earned it. Okay. And so you should, to some degree, feel that, I think. Okay. That's my opinion. All right. Some people are perfectly able to not do that and live on, frugally, which I admire that. Okay.
Those, like Warren Buffett drives a Cadillac and an Explorer.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. So they, beautiful, fantastic.
Warren Buffett drives,
drives.
not driven.
He drives that Explorer.
Yeah. But you mentioned something important, which is the other side of that is that, they're so afraid I've got this, I cannot lose it.
Because I've never had it before.
Right.
And I don't want to go back to what we
Right. Don't want to go back.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't want to have that fear anymore. Okay. That uncomfortable uncertainty. And then, and I've seen this happen a lot. I've seen people say, oh, business owners, I got $1 million in cash in my bank account. Okay.
All
I
the
just-
time. Like all the time.
I have to
All
have
the
that.
time.
Okay. And I'm thinking,
Your operating costs ain't that much.
no,
Maybe
no,
it
it's, I
depends
mean,
what-
it's, and they're always going to have that $1 million in cash or whatever the number is.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's, you got a huge opportunity cost loss in
Yeah.
there. Okay. Because they won't take even minimal risk because they can't stand it. They look at the market and they say the market dropped 5%. Oh, I can't take it. I can't
Yeah.
take it emotionally. Come on. That's just,
Yeah.
you know,
Be wise with.
yeah. And the truth is, so this is what I get confused about. Okay. Is that in the scriptures, it says, you got to be careful because anything can be lost, right? What's the moth, rust, and those? I can't remember the exact words anymore, but where moth and rust doth corrupt. Okay.
Yeah.
So thieves break in and steal. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So guess what? Nothing in this world
it's truly.
cannot be taken from us. I don't care if it's got a government guarantee, whatever it is. Okay. Only God gives guarantees. He's the only one that can actually give a true guarantee. Okay. So everything else is subject to loss. Okay. Bank accounts, whatever. And so with that in mind, money needs to be used.
Yeah.
It needs to be put to work. And if you got money that's not being put to work, that's a loss. Does that make sense?
It
Does
does.
that answer your question?
It does.
Kind
It's
of.
like, I think it gives you, like, so there's two sides to it. Now, just recap. One, you don't you deserve, and that's a whole other question answer, like figuring out what you deserve. Like, there's some benefit. You don't want to take it and not use it. It reminds me of the story of the gentleman of the Oopdorf gave that talk where he was on the cruise and the guy didn't
Oh, yeah,
enjoy
the beans.
anything on the cruise
Right,
because he
right.
had to.
He did. He
didn't
thought it wasn't
know-
included.
Yeah. But it's like some stuff is included. Like you may not, some little things like it's okay to eat out, maybe not, once a whatever
Whatever your time- whatever you
you
can
can
do,
figure
yeah,
out.
whatever.
it's okay to in a first class if you get an upgrade, but you don't need to buy a jet or you don't need to go in every flight not to be that. You can do some stuff, but it's important to be mindful that you don't go to swing the pendulum to the one side
Right.
and blow that money. Similar to the person and getting the $50K inheritance and you're
Well, I've seen so many people in my career
Yeah.
that earn lots of money.
Yeah.
Okay. And they spend all their money
plus
plus.
the house plus, so they're having debt.
Yeah. They're constantly increasing debt because it's a great income, great source of income,
And they get approved for everything because they're making $1 million or something a year, you know, whatever.
but they can't hold on to anything. They can't even spend a little bit of money for life insurance to protect their family because they're spending all their money,
Yeah.
even though they're making plenty.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then I'm thankful for them that they're doing so well.
Yeah.
I'm glad for them. They're not setting up the next generation at all.
Yeah.
In fact, they're setting up for failure because they're giving everything, and
Yeah.
there's no end to it.
And it's unrealistic. It's sustainable. Yeah.
It's not sustainable because there's a downturn, and then they're in a bad situation.
I have a couple of thoughts on this.
Yeah.
And there's just
question
finish the last
also.
part there. The
Oh, go ahead,
second
yeah.
part was you were saying, don't also hide it under a bushel
Correct.
or in a mattress. You can invest in smart investment.
Correct. There's plenty of great things. I mean,
And I think that was probably one of
Extremely
my
low risk.
questions later on.
yeah.
So I do have a couple of thoughts on this. The first thing is you really have to think and analyze the additional costs that you're going to generate that are not only money cost, but also time investment that you, when you get stuff. So let's say I buy, like, for example, I buy a brand new vehicle. Now I have higher insurance. I have to do more maintenance. The oil changes are more, the tires are more. This is, I have more
All
costs
premium
with
gas?
that. Exactly. Lots of people don't think about those additional costs. And then on top of that, let's say, for example, I get some expensive toys, like I buy a boat or I buy something like that. Totally cool. You have to think about all the maintenance for that and where you're going to keep it. But also now you're committed to the time that you have to invest because you put the money into that thing.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another 20 hours out of your month that you got to be out on the water. And you got to think about that because that's time that that may cut into your money making time.
Yeah.
So not only are you spending the money, you could be potentially cutting, and you only have we're all equalized by the time of day we have. That's the great equalizer of this world. And so they just really analyze. And if you're bad with money, if you're compulsive, if you know you're going to blow this, find somebody, your partner or a family member or your mom that is extremely trustworthy, maybe a lawyer or somebody that can help you administer this money. Okay, find a very trusted financial advisor, somebody that can help you administer your money. It may cost you a little bit of money, but that's going to, in the long term, save you time and money because you're not buying stupid stuff. Honestly.
I didn't think about that with the boat, but it is true where you just start feeling like, man, I'm paying this money for the marina fee. I'm paying all this stuff. I gotta go out
$5,000
and
a month,
use it.
bro. Yeah,
I can't waste this at this point.
Well, let me just share a little story. Okay.
Uh-oh, here we go.
So I was kind of getting more successful in my career.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And I was thinking, man, I sure would like to have a boat. I really wanted a boat so bad. I mean, it just was eating at me. Okay.
Second greatest day in a man's life is when he buys a boat.
And I wanted a boat so bad. I wanted a fishing boat. I like to be out in the water and
Yeah.
enjoy it. Okay. And so I was thinking, maybe I could do this. I stopped by a dealership one day out of the blue. Okay. Super dangerous, right?
That's see, this the if you got to know if you're compulsive, you got to know it.
And I sat down with the guy and kind of figured out, well, I could do this and I could pay this and I could probably afford this, and thankfully I didn't pull the trigger on it. I thought about it. I went home and thought, well, if I did that, so that's $1,000 a month for the boat. Okay. But you got to buy a truck.
Yes,
To
I was
pull it.
gonna say.
Okay. That's another $600 or $700 a month, plus the insurance and everything else.
No, that's awesome.
Plus all the maintenance and all the boat. And then, by the way, where are you going to find the time to go do all this stuff?
Yeah.
And hook your boat up, take it down there, plop it in the water, all the stuff you got to go along with that, the cleaning afterwards. And so I was thinking about all that. I said, nah, I'm not doing that.
No.
And now I look back at that. I said, thank heavens I never did that. I see these guys pulling these big old boats with the pickup trucks, and I literally feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think, how much work are they doing? Okay. And I remember, even funny, I ride my bike out towards Biscayne National Park, and on a Saturday, the boats were lined up to get out of Homestead Bayfront Park. Okay?
Wow.
And they actually had to hold people up.
Oh my goodness.
They couldn't even get in the park
The parking lot filled up.
parking lot filled up.
Oh my goodness.
So these guys got these, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. They can't even get into the park to unload the dang boat
That is
to go
incredible.
fishing.
What you're telling me, I need to have rich friends with a boat.
No,
Totally.
see, I'm so grateful
Or
for
rent
all my
them.
boys that got boats because
Yeah.
they always want to take me out.
Yeah.
Like, you want to go fishing? I'm like, yeah, bro, let's go.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you want to rent. Get a guy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
just
don't
have friends with boats.
spend it
Yeah,
one
yeah.
time.
Now I see why those boat clubs make so much more sense now.
Right. Yeah. 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 Anyways, that's kind of just a little story, but
These are things people don't think about though with wealth, and especially when they start getting money. That some people are super compulsive and they'll just go blow that. You have to know yourself and control yourself and think about all these variables. You know, how much time commitment that's going to be and how much that may cut into the time you're making money.
Yeah.
anyways,
One last question before we end for today. But one of the things that come back is shifting from the wealth income to wealth. And I know we kind of tapped on this, but at one point does someone move from making money to actually building wealth? And I think you alluded to that, that could start come when you, well, I don't know. But it could be when you start thinking like, like life insurance or things of that nature, because there's making money, having money here, and there's other ways you can build wealth too, where you probably can look at like stocks or other means of that stuff. But when do you start making that shift? How soon is it? Should someone, if somebody's maybe they're just starting their business, or maybe the business is 2 years old or whatnot?
you start building wealth as soon as you start taking a little bit of money out of what you got and you invest it somewhere. And, obviously we've talked about this before, but you want to have some security. You want to have that emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of cash, but you want to start investing in creating wealth. So, you can start anytime. I mean, in these days you got Robinhood out there, right? Or other
Yeah.
little things you can start. Hey, that's building wealth. You're starting to build wealth. That's starting to do it.
Yeah.
So anytime you put some money in there, you make an investment, you buy a little crypto or whatever you can do.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
You start. That's starting. Okay.
I'm
And then-
Doge rich.
Oh, very.
To the moon.
Yeah. Or even a life insurance policy with a index universal life. You put a little bit of money in it every month and you're growing. Okay. It's starting to create wealth. And so that creates enough then to eventually do other things, which could be real estate. It could be continue to invest in the market. There's plenty of people that have become very wealthy just investing in the market. And I mean, just buy and hold. They've done it. It works.
And yes, I think sometimes we feel, again, coming back, always remember this, going to the background and I hope this doesn't, I said it, but it was a mindset that I had and one that I've had to struggle with for a long time, is to say, well, that's what rich people do. Right? Those are rich people things.
So define
that-
define rich people. Yeah, you guys need to do this too. Like, you need to break this down in your head and say, who is a rich person? What is rich? What is wealthy? What does
Yeah.
that mean?
But when you come from like not having anything, you think everybody,
Everybody
like
else
a
got
middle
it and you
class-
don't got it.
Yeah, and it's like, well, it's just like, it's almost like not necessarily I don't deserve it. Is we don't do that in our family, but that's
Poor.
you have to because it's a mindset. I
Right.
think that poverty becomes a mindset,
It is a mindset.
but it's like you have to break
Middle
that.
class is a mindset.
Of course, like this is
Wealth
where
is a
I'm at.
mindset.
Yeah. It's you change it, and I think that's that perception that I can invest in the stock market, or I can invest. I think when it hit me, I remember when I first worked for a company, I didn't know what 401k was, and I found out that it was investing, like it's going in a mutual fund, and I'm like, wait, so I have money in the stock market? Like, wait, this is cool.
I'm rich.
I'm rich now.
I own these companies,
I'm
right?
gonna spend this money, man. How much can I take out? I got money in Coca-Cola. I'm a rich man. But it's like, but that was a little level of breaking into that mindset. And then when you're right, when and it was also beneficial, you're the product of the 5 people who hang around the most, because I started hanging around with other friends and their families did, better. I saw what they were doing, and it was like, wait, I could do that, because they're friends, and it's not like they were superhuman. There's just their family just does this. And
I
this is
think that you
something
said that's really profound. I think that's super important. That is a way of building wealth, hanging out with people that are positive, that have already been successful. and you can learn from them.
And it's also like this becomes that it can be negative, like, you peer pressure where you make wrong decisions, but when you see others around you, you play golf with them, and you see their imperfection, you know what they do for a living, and you know all that stuff. It's like, hold on,
This
we
is
are
not
not.
Superman anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were not any much different, but you see what they did, and it's this barrier that you overcome from the lack mindset that we can't invest in stock market, or we don't have a trust, or we don't have that.
Right.
And those things, having that over the years has helped to open up my mind. But the idea here is not, it's not to compare your wealth to other people's wealth, but start wherever you are.
Yeah.
Whether that's buying that one stock, getting that one, the index life insurance, whatever it is, that is building wealth. I think Mark said in one of our conversation once, when I think, so transparent here, you all as a client, you had helped me to move from as we've had multiple kids and life adjusted, you're like, DK, now it's time to get into some whole life.
Mhm.
And
Permanent
I'm,
coverage.
yeah, and I'm like, is that, am I old enough for this? But he was like, no, you need to happen. And then you started explaining, Mark in a conversation saying was, because that policy you now have, that is you're pretty much in this category now, because you have this whole life amount that will
Oh,
come
yeah.
to you.
Yeah, so we talk about that as being a part of your asset class.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And because in my mind, I'm like thinking it's
This is an expense, but this is actually now it is because so yeah, and that's with permanent coverage, you have once as long as you're paying the policy or once you pay the entire amount of the policy, that is part of your net worth because that is a 100% for sure that the total amount is going to go to your beneficiaries at the time of your passing. That's part of
it'll
your
go to
family's
my estate.
your estate. Yeah, yeah, or however you have this structured for sure.
I'm just
Yeah.
joking, but like, yes,
Yeah. And anybody
my
so
trust.
and that's something that people don't look at is like what is the number one thing that you need to really think about on how to build wealth is your ability to make more money. Because if you don't exist or if you can't make more money, then you're not going to have any fun with all that stuff later on. So you need to make sure that the base of your financial plan is taking care of your ability to continually make income.
Yeah.
That needs to be the base. That's your insurance. Then build on top of that. Okay, now I'm going to do my business and I want to build out my business. And a lot of the first part of a business is reinvesting in your business. That's a lot of expense. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of, there's so much that goes into it. Blood, sweat, and tears. Once you get to a point that you can start, that's either at a point where you can tell that this is going to take off or I got to kill this project because it's not going to work out. You got to you'll come to a point there. But as long as you keep, going and growing, then you can get to a point where you can start making other decisions with that revenue, whether or not, and I'm all about diversifying. You don't want to put everything into one spot because that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then you can start, investing and you start adding, in this to that, or maybe one of your boys is going to do a project, you can help them out with some private funding. So there's a lot of different ways to diversify your income and to grow your wealth, but you really got to protect the base and build off the base.
I'll also say this: there's an argument to be made in not diversifying. Okay. In other words, it's good to
I agree.
diversify,
I
but
100%
there's
agree.
also an
Yep.
argument to be made in not diversifying,
Correct.
in being laser focused,
Very specific to one single thing,
and
or two
becoming
things.
extremely good at that. Or some people just are they'll follow 4 or 5 stocks.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're laser focused on following those stocks. They're always buying low and selling high because they're focused on it all the time. So there's some value to being laser focused as well.
100%.
So this was very helpful to at least start off. One, shift that mindset when it comes to, I can have it, and two, shifting from thinking of income but looking at wealth generation. I appreciate this, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That was awesome. Great
Okay.
stuff. Thanks, guys. That was an amazing episode. Glad you guys stuck all the way to the end with us. And we are going to have a part 2 episode that's going to be follow-up for next week. So make sure you tune in for that. If you have any comments or questions, drop them in the comments below and follow us on our socials. And if you guys need any help or anything you want to talk about, further discussion, reach out through the links in our description on how to get an appointment with us. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, guys.